How's it going, everybody? This is a part 2 of the trail camera video that I just put out. Basically, we're just going to get right down into it. Basically, I want to talk about where exactly would you put a camera. We showed how we put it up. You know, we like to put it up higher so it's out of sight, out of mind. Where exactly would we put it up? That's the next question. So what I've come to realize, at least on our property, you know, I talked about this in a couple of our other videos, the diversity into it. It's basically about 60% of our property's thick cover, and then 40 to 30% of it's open hardwood. And then we got obviously our couple acre fields and then a couple small kill plots and stuff like that. But what I've noticed over the years, you know, you always see those bucks out in the fields during the summer, and they're coming out of woodlots that you don't see them at during the rut. I mean, typically you don't see the bucks out in the fields that much during the rut eating or whatever, unless they're chasing a doe, and even then that can be kind of rare sometimes. The reason that is because when they're growing their antlers and they're in velvet, picture a pear, picture a banana or some fruit or something like that, and how it bruises so easily to the touch, or if you drop it or whatever. That's a deer's antler. So when you think of thick cover, like for instance our property, there's not really a whole lot of good spots to put a camera up at this time of year. We got one or two that we can throw one up and maybe check, and as you've seen in the video, the main reason I'm putting that camera up is I want to watch and see the deer, the does and the fawns, any deer interacting with that scrape, because that's the point of that scrape, is to get their scent on it, and that's what I'm trying to capture there. But I know that come October, end of September, that's going to switch. Their horns get hard, they're starting to disperse from their bachelor groups. That's when you can start focusing on those rut zones to put your cameras up. So if you want to get pictures of your deer at this time of year, you want to get good velvet pictures, then edges of fields, open hardwoods that's got lots of good high spots, whether it's 100 feet or 6 feet or whatever, just spots they can get up and watch and look around for bedding and stuff that's got good forage that they're eating on at that time. And then when it comes to the you know, that fall time, you want to be in the thick cover. That's where you want to be with your camera. You want to be off the field edge, unless you're trying to get a nighttime picture and just get inventory. And then that's different. Then you can put your camera up on a spot that, you know, I'm not going to hunt this spot, but I know they pass through here at 2 in the morning, 1 in the morning, 10 o'clock at night, 4 in the morning, so you could just get an inventory on that. But that's why I like the mock scrapes, and that's where I would put a camera at that time of year, because you know they're going to be coming in there a couple times of the week to check, because the point of that mock scrape is doing a lot of the work for them. They're going to that scrape and they're checking it to see if a doe in that area. They laid that scrape down in that area because there's a group of does in there that bed nearby. So they're going to that scrape and checking that scrape to see if any of those does laid down scent that they're in heat, close to heat. So those scrapes are doing a lot of work for them. So if you can get your camera up on a scrape, an active scrape that they made naturally, a mock scrape that you made naturally. I know some people do have luck with the scents and stuff, and I've been seeing a couple people post the ropes and all that, and some of them get deer by it, but I don't know how well I feel about that. Those are places in Kansas and Iowa and stuff like that. Here in Michigan, I've had real good luck with jack pine, vines, oak, stuff like that. So that's my opinion. I think, you know, if you're gonna throw a camera up, throw it up on your scrape. Throw it up on a real small watering hole, or, you know, a trail that has a bunch of trails coming together, makes an X of movement. Throw it up somewhere in there. Don't just throw it up on one single trail. Don't just throw it in the back of a bedding area. I don't necessarily think that's a good idea. That's supposed to be a sanctuary for that deer, and they're constantly moving bedding areas due to intrusion from humans. So if they pick up on that camera, and I'm not saying they will, but if they do, they're more than likely going to move out of that bedding area. So you got plenty of spots to put cameras up. You know, you got isolated food sources, an oak tree or an apple tree that might be in the middle of a thick area or something like that. That's a great spot to put a camera up at. But you know that those oaks are going to be gone. The apples are going to be gone at some point in the end of October, beginning of November. So again, I'll say it, I think the best spot that you can put a camera up is a mock scrape. If you're trying to get that velvet picture, go to your field edges, go to your open hardwood and find the areas that, what are they eating at this time of year, and get your cameras up. Or go right in, you could probably go into or close to a bedding area at this time. They're a little more tolerant, so they're not being shot at right now, and they haven't been for 4 or 5 months now. So their tolerance is a little bit more up right now. It's like a switch when hunting season comes around. But that's my intake. That's where I'd put a camera. I'm trying to think if I've missed anything. So the only thing I can think of would be when it comes to trail cameras and stuff like that, especially where we hunt, we have a property that's more set up for the rut, and personally we like that better. The only time you can actually influence a deer herd is during the rut. You can't do anything about it. You can't do anything about it during the summer months, spring and all that stuff. So we try to, you know, focus on food that keeps them around during the hunting season and later part of the season, and leave it all bare. So at that point we only have a couple groups of doe on our property throughout the spring and summer, and maybe a buck or two, small spike horn, something like that. So we really don't even put cameras up at this time. We don't waste the batteries, don't waste the time. Like I said, maybe just one. I'm doing this mainly to try to get deer, fawns, and does on that scrape to show you guys, but we don't really put cameras up and waste the time on that. We spend more time doing other stuff, you know, making mock scrapes or setting stands up, shooting lanes, food plots, at least getting them ready. And then there's other stuff going on. We got life. We all got jobs. We all got responsibilities and stuff too. So we got to keep up on that. So I mean, we don't really start putting our cameras up until sometime around August, September, because that shift happens around. It could happen at any time. Typically though, it's happening right in the middle of September to October, and by October, first week of October, that shift has happened. Those deer, they're typically going to be in the areas that they're going to be for the rut, or relatively close to them. I mean, we always get roaming deer throughout the rut that we didn't have on camera all October, but we don't really go too hard with the cameras. I got one out right now, and like I said, that's mainly trying to get the video for you guys to see that. But I think that's all I can think of. We talked about getting it up. We talked about where to put it. Talked about different times of years where you want to put a camera at. I don't think there's much more. It's not rocket science. You don't have to go up 20 feet in a tree. You don't have to try and brush it in with cover. Just give yourself a tree that's bigger than the camera and go up about 6 to 8 feet, maybe 10 feet with it, and make sure you angle it down. Like I said, use your selfie mode on your phone to give you an idea of what you're looking at, so you ain't got to check the card and rearrange it and fiddle around with it. And that's really all I can think of right now. We got more videos coming up. I want to show, I'm doing a stand, or a couple stand setups that I want to show everybody a real in-depth. I want to show the view of where I'm at when I'm done, why I picked the tree out, show you the trails around it and all that. I want to get real into depth about why I'm picking this spot, because a lot of people, they get a whiteboard or they give you just a vocabulary of why they picked that spot, and it's hard. Sometimes it can be hard to break that down. That's all I can think of, guys. If you could, please like and subscribe. That would really help me out a lot. Basically, I'm just trying to get as much truth out as I can. The hunting industry is no different than the politics in this world. It's a bunch of lies. So I'm just trying to get some truth out. I know there's some guys out there that do it, but there's not enough of it. So if you guys could like and subscribe, I appreciate it. As always, God bless.